as well. There's also another question about a number of staff have had a reaction to the first vaccine and therefore don't want to have the second. I mean, I think it depends what that reaction is, if they felt unwell or if it was something more severe. But I don't know if either of you two want to sort of elaborate on that, about how we can support through that process.
I think it depends what they're talking about, what reaction it is. So if it's like they felt unwell or they've got a bit of the symptoms, then there's little we can discuss why but a lot of people will have had some symptoms. If it's an allergic type reaction, then Gavin is quite right that either the trust or the GP can actually get some advice as to what should happen about getting further vaccinations. But I think it's really difficult when you say you've had a reaction, because in actual fact, that's what we want. We want a reaction. The reaction's good news in some cases. If you're feeling unwell for 24 hours, that shows us that your body has had an immune response. So I suppose it's about spinning that. And I know people have felt unwell, but that's much better than other outcomes that could have occurred. So I think that's really difficult to actually just say, if you have a reaction, what do you do? I think you probably need to speak to somebody. And so if they've got any specific concerns, because a reaction is just such a broad term. But Airedale are going through, and Gavin would be able to explain more about this, but you know, if they've had an allergic type reaction, which is a different thing, and that they are concerned that would get worse or would necessitate things, then we could refer them via the immunology report to determine whether they should get a different dose, a different vaccine, or what should happen. I mean, I think that what we've found is that we've had lots of discussions over 12 months. We've seen a lot of people with different reactions, and we've got a clinical reference group set up within the district that can discuss that on a weekly basis to determine if what we all think would be the right thing to do. But it's also talking to the patients as well, and making them, or the staff, to understand what their concerns are and what reaction has occurred. Because it's really difficult. Somebody says they've had a reaction, because probably 100% of people have some sort of reaction. Does that mean you had a sore arm? I don't know anybody who didn't have a sore arm. And people's perception of a reaction and what they're going to feel like is sometimes, oh, well, I don't want to feel that bad again. Well, yes, but is that better than being in intensive care? I think the answer would probably be yes. But, you know, so it's really difficult to answer that per se, I think.
Yeah, I think that we are really fortunate to have this sort of Airedale pathway and this route, because most other areas don't have this and aren't able to have these conversations. But actually, what you might find with a lot of staff, for many of the reasons that they give, and we have seen this, that it is, oh, it's because of fertility, or oh, it's because I've had a reaction. And actually, they're just saying that because they don't necessarily want to have the vaccination at this stage. Where obviously now it is becoming mandatory, and actually what you're able to do is to say, well, that's fine, I understand what you're saying. You're able to listen and hear and go, yeah, I understand you're concerned about that. Let me direct you here where they can have a conversation with you and they can fully understand that and make sure that you are safe and everything's well for you to have that vaccine. Now, if they're truly concerned, they will have that conversation, or actually if they're not truly concerned, then that was just a reason as to why they didn't, you know, they were using as to why they didn't want to have the vaccine. Then they will just go off. They will realise that there is no other option, and that they will need to have the vaccine if they want to continue to work in this sector. So it works from both parts. But you, as a manager, are able to sit there and listen to them and go, I take on board your concerns, and here's how I'm going to help address those for you. And it also, you know, it is very difficult sometimes to answer some of the many questions or to rebuke some of the many conspiracy theories that are out there when you're not the expert on all things vaccines. But actually through this route, we're able to put them directly in touch with experts who can discuss all that information and have that conversation with them. So it just helps you to act as more supportive role through this whole process as well.